Hello everyone and welcome to RPGFan.com. I'm Ramsey Rule and we are here to give you our live reactions to the Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer. I mean, really, did anybody see this coming? Because we had the State of Play that came out, I think it was 2 days ago now from the time I'm recording this, and we have not heard anything about the Final Fantasy VII Remake in, I want to say 4 years? Because they revealed it at E3 at Sony's press conference in 2015. We got a little snippet of live gameplay, if we're perfectly honest, about late 2015, maybe early 2016, and then nothing. We had heard stories, of course, that it was going to be an episodic game. Those are probably still accurate. And of course, we've been hearing about how there have been some developmental hiccups, so let's take a look at what they've seen. The return draws closer. Oh, the train scene! Oh, hi, Jesse.
Have fun.
I'm here for you, to help take the load off your shoulders.
So, what's our next move, boss?
That's easy enough.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Here.
Oh my god, that's adorable!
Flower?
Oh. Oh, there she is in the... Okay. Oh. Oh, hey, that's the first boss. Oh.
Can you bear to see the planet suffer? Cloud.
That's what she... Oh man, they gotta figure out a better title. And of course, we're gonna have to come back in June. Wow. Okay. Lot to unpack there. This actually feels a little different than the gameplay footage that they were been showing in concept previously. So initial thoughts. I thought it looked really good. One thing I was worried about when I first started seeing the footage of the remake was, oh, it's really dark, it is really kind of, the lighting's really low, and it didn't seem to have that kind of same color contrast that we saw with the original in the PS1. But this, I mean, if you just look at like kind of the first times, okay, so we first, of course, have that very green hue that we kind of see at the very beginning of Final Fantasy VII because we're still in Midgar. There's, of course, Aerith, who, you know, I was always a Tifa guy growing up, but I don't know, something about this is working for me. So we see here that this is kind of literally like the first battle, when you literally jump off that train, Barrett runs ahead, and here are these two Shinra guards. So we are literally starting with remaking the first battle from Final Fantasy VII, so that's actually really interesting. He's got his Buster Sword. You can see the two materia slots. Yeah, and there's nothing in there. Here was the first thing that I was noticing. So we know that it's not going to be turn-based for some reason. I don't know why. But what we see here is kind of the first look. This is if this is going to be the final user interface, then it's actually very sparse from what we've been used to so far. So we've got, of course, like on the right-hand side, you've got Barrett and Cloud's health and what looks like their magic. Could that be their? No. That might be their level points. This is what confused me a little bit. So we've got an attack for square, and then we've got commands menu, which I assume would bring up kind of like what you're going to be able to do when it comes to being a player character. I don't get what Punisher is. Like, let me see, where are some other, here's another one. Oh, okay, Braver. Okay, so maybe they're using that as kind of special attacks that they can each use. Could that be their limit breaks? Maybe? I'm not sure on that. So also we can see from this that not only, because when I first watched the trailer, I noticed that we were really focusing on Cloud, Barrett, Aerith, and some of the Avalanche guys like Jesse and Biggs and Wedge and all that. But you can see here that there is Tifa, which we'll see her again in a second. So they haven't shown her, which it's kind of odd, but all right. Looks like this is just me, because like if you look at like this here, L2 and R2, when we see all this footage, it's literally only Cloud fighting. So it's first got me wondering, it's like, is Cloud the only one that you can control? But with this L2 saying switch to Tifa and switch to Barrett, I'm wondering if that means that we can switch control between the three main party members, which, comment section, you're gonna have to remind me, what update changed that for Final Fantasy 15? Because both 13 and 15 only allowed you to control one member of the party at a time, and then everything else was automated. But there was, if I remember, I think it was with a Royal Pack, they let you change that in 15 where you can control the other three members of your party. So I'm wondering if they're learning from that and are, based on these icons here on the left-hand side of the UI, if they're going to let you control the rest of the party, which that kind of ties it a little bit closer to its turn-based roots, since you as the player in Final Fantasy VII and almost all other turn-based RPGs can control the actions of all of your party. Voice acting overall is actually pretty good for the English actors they've got. First time I heard Barrett, I was like, yeah, that's Barrett. I'm kind of sad that, who's... Bo Billingsley, that's his name. He's the one who did it, and when I was watching Advent Children back in the day, I'm like, so did the voice director just say, yeah, do your best Mr. T impersonation? This one, for Barrett, I'm like, okay, this sounds more like what I think of when I think Barrett. Because he's not quite as Mr. T sounding, but he's still got a lot of kind of interesting inflections that I'm like, yeah, that's Barrett. And judging by the fact that it looks like, yeah, you are controlling Barrett, so I wonder if what we saw before with the UI being able to change with the left and the right bumper, we're going to be able to control all of them. I hope they keep that. Here's a good spot, because this is both my favorite scene and the one that made me genuinely kind of get misty-eyed. It's also the one little problem I have with this remake. Aerith and Cloud in their first meeting. And I always thought that was an adorable little scene. Because you saw her at the beginning and you think, well, what's important about this character? And then you meet her again on your way back to the Avalanche. The models on this all look really good. They're really well designed. They're very expressive. I like the fact that they're not going too hyper-realistic. Like, this still looks like a person's face. But you can still see, like, Aerith's very much got her much more larger, more expressive eyes. One of the things about Nomura's designs, if you go back to the original art he designed for the characters, not the actual pixel-in models, is there was a degree of asymmetry in his designs. Like, you look at, like, for example, Cloud's figure here. His head is very much kind of the size of a normal person's head. The proportions he has for his body, from what I've seen, seem to match what the general proportions are when you're drawing a human figure. Same with Aerith here. And I don't know how I feel about that. Nomura's designs are so tightly linked with Final Fantasy VII. And that kind of subtle asymmetry. Because if you look at, like, the designs of, like, Nomura when he was designing the characters, they all have very kind of varying widths and degrees. They're not very perfect asymmetrical humans. Like, if I can go back to Barrett. So you can kind of see with Barrett, his overall design has this kind of big barrel-chested guy. And if you look at Nomura's original art, he's still got that very kind of broad sense. So he's very kind of angular and square. And then, square, haha. Then you go to him, like, when he's talking, it's very same in his facial features and how broad he is. But when we get to, like, Aerith and Cloud, they still have all of their unique visual quirks. Like, I'm very surprised that they didn't do anything to try and make Cloud's hair real. How are you going to do that? And they didn't, and, like, Aerith still got her cute little kind of, like, bangs and then her cute little braids and hair. It's just the proportions that are throwing me. But again, like I said, when they're in motion, just watch how, like, we get this movement of picking a flower, and then I don't know why, but that little extra hop gives her so much little, like, perkiness, because that fits her character. It's when we get to, like, close-up shots or still shots where we just kind of see more detail in their facial features and just kind of seeing how their proportions lay out. This battle here is, I think that's probably when you're in the sewers escaping from Don Corneo. So we've got Aerith, Tifa, and Cloud. We're controlling Cloud here. You can actually see Aerith in the background using her staff, so that's good. This is probably when we're invading the Shinra headquarters. Judging by that. Oh, wow. Didn't notice that before, but like you can see Barrett taking a hit there in the lower left corner. Like, here we go. Let's see. So he comes around, Cloud's blocking, then the robot kind of spins around, and then you can see Barrett getting off his feet. So it's clear that when you're controlling one of the characters, the others are still acting on their whatever their AI protocols are going to be. I don't know how much control we're going to have over that when we're not controlling them. And then there's the first boss. One thing I will say from a video standpoint, this is cut really quick. Like, other than that scene at the beginning and when Cloud meets Aerith, a lot of this has just been actioning. My gut says that it's probably just simulations, but we'll see.
Can you bear to see the planet suffer? Cloud.
There he is. Everybody's favorite long-haired, long-sword bad boy. Again, from a voice perspective, that doesn't sound like the longtime voice of Sephiroth in, I think, like Advent Children and Crisis Core was George Newbern, who animation fans will know him as Superman from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. He sounds what I think of when I think of Sephiroth, so. And Final Fantasy VII Remake. Square, think of another title. That can't be your final title. Someone in marketing, tell them no. People have been calling this a reintroduction, and yeah, it's been 3 years, so that's a pretty good thing that it is a reintroduction. So more to come in June. June's the same month as E3. Sony's not at E3 this year. Do we think Square's going to do another presentation? Nintendo's already announced that they're doing their Direct at E3, so I'm wondering if Sony is going to do something similar and do a state of play during E3 week. We'll just have to wait for another month and find out what we're going to get. So thank you all very much for watching, and let us know what you think about the Final Fantasy VII Remake down in the comments. I'm excited again. It's been a long time since I played the original, so I might go back and replay Final Fantasy VII on my PC, but this isn't very much have gotten me noticed going, okay, they might have something here. It doesn't look like a bad Dirge of Cerberus clone, because that's what everybody was thinking when we first saw that footage, but let's see where they go. So thank you all for watching, and have a good day.